I time traveled back to 2007 to make a Republic gunship alternate build out of the very first LEGO clone Battlepack. Okay, the time travel part is not true, but I definitely did make a gunship using this set. Actually, a bunch of them. I started by loading 16 copies of the set into Studio Digital Designer. Then it was time to start building. I started with the base, and then I started working on the ball turrets at the very front. It's not perfect, but it gets the point across. I filled in the other side, and I quickly realized this build was going to be kind of challenging just based on the part selection that I was working with. But nevertheless, I continued on. Making a few changes to the sides, I continued to build further up, and then I started working on the upward sloped area that would eventually hold the two pilots and the cockpits. Now, obviously, there's no windscreen pieces included here, so I had to get pretty creative and use these white mudguard pieces. I was getting kind of frustrated though with how the cockpit area was looking, so I decided to leave it for now and move on to build out the rest of the ship. But that's when I realized I was going to need some more parts, so I decided to add in another 8 sets. Then it was full throttle to make the passenger area, the back, and the roof. I had very few normal plates or bricks, so I was relying a lot on specialized parts to make these sections. Luckily, I did save enough longer plates to make the wings, which I actually think turned out pretty well. Then I used some of the more specialized parts to make the details and greebling on the roof, as well as the engines. But once again, I found myself running out of parts, so I had to add in another 2 sets before I could fully complete the engines and the top section. At this point, there still were a few main things to take care of, and the first order of business was revisiting the cockpits. Here I'm trying to make them look better and actually be able to fit minifigures. But then I thought, why not add some more tiles to the wings just because I can, and then I started building the doors. These would be able to open up, although not very much. However, they do provide pretty good coverage of the sides without too many gaps. And speaking of gaps, I had a few to seal up at the very back, and after adding some missile launchers to the very top and doing a quick adjustment on the wing angle, I think this thing is ready to show off. So yeah, at the front we have the ball turrets. Like I said, they're not perfect, but I really do like those old cannon pieces. And moving up to the cockpits, they are able to fit minifigures, giving you sort of the illusion that there's a windscreen there with those rounded mudguard pieces. Further up the ship at the very top is my favorite section, featuring the engines, all the detailed greebling pieces, as well as the missile launchers. And of course, I can't forget to show you the doors. Here's what it looks like when they're closed. And when they're open, you can see inside to the passenger area. Now, unfortunately, you can only fit about 3 clones on the inside. However, with the doors open, you can put 3 more on each side on the outside, making for a total of 9 passengers and 2 pilots, 11 clones total. And finally, at the very back of the ship, there is a rear cannon, which I forgot to mention, as well as those blue thruster pieces on the engines, which I think are actually really cool as well. So if you weren't keeping track, I did use 26 of this battle pack set to make this gunship. Now back in the day at $10 a piece, that would run you about $260 to make this. Now I would describe this alternate build as janky but nostalgic, but I want to know what you think. Is it worth time traveling back to 2007 just to build this gunship, or should we stick with something more modern? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.